This is an excerpt from a lighthearted vignette which describes my late husband Bill's love of saltwater aquariums. It was an expensive hobby which caused a bit of friction with his frugal wife during the first year of marriage. So maybe this is a kind of revenge. It was April 1, 1968. Slow Monday at the office, but my mind was working overtime. Bill and I were like two kids on April Fool days, but since I hadn't been fooled yet, I figured he hadn't focused on the date. So I wrote a letter, addressed it to Bill, and signed in a mannish scrawl, "Don, you bleed." Bill was such a trusting soul that I figured he wouldn't even question the name, and he didn't. I lifted a canceled stamp from the day's office mail and glued it to the envelope, for this had to look authentic. Bill met me at the bus stop after work, and we rode home together. When I retrieved the mail from our apartment mailbox, I sneaked Don Bleed's letter into the middle of the pack. Shuffling through the mail, I said to Bill, "Oh, here's a letter for you." Pretending to be busy, looking at the rest of the mail, out of the corner of my eye, I watched Bill. The further he got into the letter, the more excited his expression. Finally, he said, "I can't believe this guy. This is unreal." Feigning innocence, I said, "Why? What's it about?" Bill's words were fairly tumbling over each other as he explained, This guy's just back from a trip to the Mediterranean. He caught all these exotic fish that he's selling from his home. Anderson, the aquarium guy, gave him my name and said I might be interested. "What kind of fish?" I asked. "All kinds. He's got a list with fantastic prices. For instance, the Royal Grandma for $3. I'd have to pay $11 for one at Anderson's. And the pistol shrimp, he's got 5 of them for $5 a piece." I shook my head. I said, "Pardon the pun, but something's fishy about this. Sounds like a scam to me." "No, no," argued Bill. He says, "All I have to do is to send him a vial of the water I'm going to put the fish in. If it tests out okay, he'll guarantee the fish. Nobody guarantees fish." "Where is he?" "He's right here in Maryland. Gave me his telephone number and said to call as soon as possible if I'm interested." Bill rushed off to the bedroom where our only telephone was waiting. He began to dial, but the number was always busy. "That guy must be selling fish like mad. His line's always busy." And I suggested that we eat a bite of supper and maybe by then he could reach the fellow. Bill reluctantly agreed, but gobbled down his food, periodically rubbing his forehead with his finger as he always did when thinking. And then he turned back to the bedroom to resume dialing. I sat on the bed next to Bill, and I was beginning to get a little nervous, wondering what his reaction was going to be when he finally caught on. But I was still curious enough to see how it would all play out. The phone continued to be busy, and Bill was becoming more and more agitated. Finally, when he dialed, he got a connection and a message. Bill held the phone out in front of him and stared at it quizzically, as if the phone could tell him what was going on. I said, "What's wrong?" He shook his head. He said, "I must have dialed wrong." Then he dialed again, and again he stared at the phone. I said, "Now what?" With a puzzled expression, he answered, "I got dial a prayer." Unable to keep a straight face any longer, I collapsed in hysterics, fell